Welcome to Simple Smart Investing Podcast, brought to you by Cory, the founder of Black Creek Wealth Management, a registered investment advisory firm out of Jacksonville, Florida. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. What is Simple Smart Investing? This show is designed to help our listeners think differently about financial topics and investing. Cory has over 15 years of complex trading, investment management, and comprehensive financial planning he wants to share to serve others. The landscape of investing is changing, and to be successful, Cory wants to introduce to his listeners alternative thinking around their investing so they can make impactful decisions to work towards their goals quickly and safely as possible. Thank you for tuning in. And now, let's get to the show.
Hey everybody, Cory Schrader, Black Creek Wealth Management. So happy you could join me at the Simple Smart Investing Podcast. I'm really excited to be coming at you again in this brand new year. Sorry for the delay in this podcast. I was golfing with a client about a week and a half ago and was bouncing around the course, unfortunately, and I had my computer because I do trading during the week. And went to work on my computer as soon as we got done, and there was a huge crack across the entire screen. So I had to send off the computer, and when I went to actually record the podcast, I forgot that I had all of my podcast recording stuff on my broken laptop. So I had to use my old one, so I wasn't able to do the podcast last week, but definitely wanted to get it to you today. Because why? Because you need to know this stuff. And ultimately, the topic today is do I have to be a millionaire to retire? New ways to look at retirement. So going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that today. Want to make sure that you have a little bit of some experience, some clarity into what I do with clients each and every day. You know, you go on TV, you go on the internet, and you kind of measure yourself against others. We all do it. And you're like, well, how much money should I have by the time I retire? Now, you go to Fidelity, you go to a lot of these brokerage houses, and they talk about you should have 10 times your savings or 10 times your income or salary when you go to retire. Well, that can be a little challenging, right? I mean, ultimately, not all of us have the ability or the benefit of a dual income family. Sometimes, life kicks us in the face and we have medical costs and some other things. So it's really hard to save. So the biggest thing I want to just let you know is if you've been saving and you are saving and you're investing, you're at least, trying to grow that money. Congratulations, because you're doing much better than I would probably say about 50-60% of the people, that work in those day-to-day jobs that just can't really scratch anything away. So if you're even able to save 2-3% of your income, good for you. Now, of course, if you can curve a little bit of spending and save a little bit more, I obviously want to encourage you to do so. Sometimes, instead of buying Starbucks or, buying that extra car, you run your car for another year or two. I know it sucks. We all like new and pretty things, but at the end of the day, if you can save a little bit more, what it allows you to have is options, okay? So, and I don't just mean about retirement, I mean just in life. When you have money, you can do different things, right? When you don't have money or you're using it not necessarily the best way, sometimes you just get tired. Case in point, I had to pay some homeowners association this year, as we always do in January. And I went online and it's like, oh, you can pay online for $8. There's an $8 fee to pay a $120 HOA. Okay, that's a 6% service charge. All I had to do was write a check and stamp it, and I could even walked it over to them, right? So the power of convenience, the power of costs, it's, those little things add up over time. As I always say, crumbs make bread. And at the end of the day, it's all about how can you just, take those little pennies and build them up. I mean, go to the supermarket. I always do this. Go look at dishwasher detergent, right? You buy those little Cascade pods. Those things are $12 per unit. You could buy the powder. It's the exact same amount of powder and I think it's like 60 cents. So you're saving a lot of cost for the added convenience for them to package something for you, right? It just doesn't make sense. So, end of the day, that's my soapbox. Do you really have to be a millionaire? I'm going to tell you right now, no, you don't. And I have a lot of experience working with this because I have a lot of just very recent experiences where folks have, again, been hit by a truck medically, worked in just those service industry jobs, was making $30,000, $40,000 a year, food costs, a couple of vacations, a couple of kids, you really don't have a lot to save. So, I know of one case specifically, they have just under about 180, about 200,000 to their name. And with that, with Social Security and Medicare, they're retired. Okay. So do you have to be a millionaire to retire? No, you don't. What's going to drive that is your lifestyle, right? So when I manage money for clients, I always tell them, it's like, look, you can take about 6% of your income out of your account and roughly not touch principal, at least over the long term. Last year, if you're taking out 6% and the market's down, 20%, just know that you're taking out a higher withdrawal rate. Now, the beautiful thing is with the right kind of management is if you do want to protect and insulate, you can build strategies around it. And I've done that I had a client 2 years ago that retired. We built out enough cash to last him for the 3-4 years in case things happened. So while the rest of his portfolio is growing, he's got 4 years of cash that he's drawing upon at 6% that he doesn't have to worry about. And we're just rebuilding on the back end. So ultimately, the biggest thing is what's going to drive that, do I have to be a millionaire, is what is your expenses going to be? What are you going to spend your money on? Are you going to live the high life? Are you going to live a very frugal, and I'm just basically going to go watch a movie every Tuesday or Thursday and go to the gym? I mean, I have clients right now, they barely spend $3,000 a month. So if you have a pension coming in, let's say you're a retired teacher and you have a pension coming in of $3,000 a month. Well, you just netted that out, right? Oh, wow. Social Security is going to be piled on top of that. I got about another $1,500 coming in. Oh, and I got a little bit of extra savings. Let's say I got $100,000. I could get, again, 6% from that. That's another $6,000 or $500 a month. So this is the benefit of planning. This is why you can say, how much am I saving? How much did I save? What can I make out of what I have? And if you have some guaranteed income sources like a pension or like Social Security. Now, for my generation, we need to prepare for this. I still feel like we got about 50 cents on the dollar, if that, when we hit retirement. And I got about another 20 years. Ugh, I hate saying that. I got about another 20 years before I retire. Or I'll probably never retire. That's the other thing is I again, work with a lot of people that are at near retirement. And they're always like, what am I going to do when I retire? Why should I stop working? It's pretty easy. It's pretty cush. Now that I don't have to go into the office, it's made it even easier. So again, what I will tell you is you will be surprised that you can actually make money when you get to retirement. Now, people are going to harp at me and say, well, what about medical costs and all those kind of things? Well, here in Jacksonville, there's something called the military. And a lot of these folks around here that retire have TRICARE. They have their medical paid for, and they're getting a pension. So do you need to be a millionaire? No, you don't. Now, do you want to leave a legacy? I kind of do. So I'm going to save a little bit extra if I can to make sure that I have the ability to give my kids the benefit of doing whatever job they want without having to fight for things like I did in the restaurant. I don't want that for them. I want them to do what they want to do. So I'm going to save a little bit more. But this is what I would tell you is if you are trying to figure out, Cory, I want to retire when I'm 55 or 65 or whatever, do some back of the napkin math, do some planning. If you don't know how to do this, or if you just need help, call me. Let me know. I will happily do some back of the napkin math with you. Now, you need to get further deeper into the weeds and you have much more elaborate kind of planning. We'll talk about what that looks like. But at the end of the day, if you don't know where you're driving to, you're kind of just drifting. And I, for one, would rather see you have a plan, rather have you, hey, here's what I need to survive. Because here's where it comes down, guys, is you could be saving too much. And it happens all the time. Me and Melissa, we were saving too much. That is why my strategy and the way I help people through planning and all these kinds of retirement questions is save a little, spend a little, right? We all don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could be saving for a day that never comes. I've seen it with my own family. I see it with clients I work with all the time. You got to get out. You got to enjoy yourselves. But you do need to save a little bit of some of that money for future. And you can use the market to generate more growth so you don't have to save as much. Again, you don't know how to do it. Reach out. Let me know how I can serve. So, long story short, do I have to be a millionaire to retire? No. I didn't even talk about your house. Let's say you own a house. What if you have equity in the house? You could use that. You're paying it down. You're basically creating a savings account that you could live off of. I know people that do that as well. So I can go on and on. I wanted to keep this short. Want to let you know that keep going. If you need clarity, give me a holler. Check out the website, blackcreekwm.com. Call me, text me. Let me know how I can serve. But at the end of the day, if no one's told you that they care about you, please know that I do. I am here to serve. If you need me, I'm here. God bless. Let's have a great week.